Get me that signal. We need no panic.
I'm speaking with Steve Horvath from Fantasy Flight Games. Steve, welcome to the Voice of You.
How's it going?
Pretty good so far. We're here at Gen Con. It's the first day. Of course, there's an announcement the first thing.
Of course there is. Why would there not be?
We're here at the Fantasy Flight Games booth, which is, again, huge and a huge presence. I see a huge line wrapping around everywhere, and it's only Thursday.
But it's going faster this year.
Which is good, which is
Yes.
good. You guys are doing better every year.
We doubled the amount of registers, we got better tech support, and we even have a line game to play while you're waiting this year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we designed a game that we gave out for free for you to play while you're waiting in line.
Nice. Now, what are some of the new things that you've brought along to actually sell? Not just demo, but sell.
So we debuted Warhammer 40K Conquest today. That's the first time in the world that's been out for sale and seen.
Nice.
We'll also be sending out demo decks to stores so people can learn how to play, and it'll be hitting stores soon. We also have X-Wing Wave 5, which everybody's really excited about.
Excellent. What ships are in the...
That's the Decimator for the Imperials, and it's the first ship in the game that can actually cause damage ramming into other ships, so that's really exciting.
Wow.
And it's got a lot of health. It's really hard to take out, and it's the first Imperial ship with a turret weapon as well.
Really? Oh, nice.
Yes.
So you got a 360 going on.
Yes, and then the Rebels answer that with a YT-2400, which was Dash Rendar's ship. Okay. And then we also have Rebel Aces on sale today. So
very nice. Now, is the Warhammer one, is that a new living card game?
It is a new living card game set in the Warhammer 40K universe. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so now the big announcements in the past 2 weeks have been, of course...
We've had a couple, yes.
I believe the first one was Star Wars Armada.
No, the first one was XCOM.
Was XCOM?
Yeah, that was on Tuesday of last week. Yes.
Gotcha. Can you tell me a little bit about XCOM for people who haven't seen it?
Oh, I can tell you a lot about XCOM.
Tell me all about it.
It has a digital component that's required to play. That's been a big deal. That's caused a lot of news. We're really excited that Game Informer actually gave it some coverage in their latest issue the same day that we debuted. It's one of the most popular stories we've ever run on the website, so it's gotten a lot of attention. This digital component, it can be a downloadable app or it's a free web tool that you can use as well, is required to run the game because it drives the turn sequence. And you play the game as a 1 to 4 player co-op game, but you play the turn sequence in real time, okay? So the communications officer reads what's going on the screen and lets everybody know. And it tells everybody what they need to do, you know, like deploy interceptors to shoot down UFOs, the alien invader craft, science officers, different techs to research and stuff like that, the commander running the special op teams to deploy, and you only have a certain amount of time, and it keeps so there's a lot of tension in the game of what am I going to do? I've got to decide. It's, you know, you kind of feel the pressure, right? It's very exciting that way. And then when the turn sequence is over, then the real time stops, and then you roll dice to resolve different actions and see how many of the aliens your interceptors shot down, the results of the research, how your special forces teams have done, that kind of thing. That's not in real time, so that gives you a chance to breathe every turn. And what's really fascinating about this, I mean, people have asked, well, is it possible to play without the app or the web tool? And the answer is no. If you could recreate this with cards, then we failed to do what we set out to do, right? It provides an experience that you just can't have with cards alone, okay? Now, there are plenty of cards in the game that you use for crisis, to reserve crisis, the science tech that you're researching, all of that kind of stuff. But this central AI works in a way that you just couldn't simulate with cards. It's pretty amazing. You pick the difficulty level you want to play on, easy, normal, or hard, and then the AI is going to pick from 5 different alien invasion plans, and it's going to start implementing its invasion plan. And then as you input the results into the device every turn, it's going to adjust to what you're doing.
You know what? That is actually awesome. I mean, this seems like it's the first game that has an intelligent opponent that you're playing against, which is really faithful to XCOM.
It's pretty amazing, right? Because it'll also do things like it will change the turn sequence on you depending on some things that you are doing. And you have satellites that you deploy to get information. If they knock some of your satellites get disabled, you will get less information that turn. And they may change the turn sequence and make you make some decisions that you don't have all the information you want before you make that choice. Right? It's really amazing. It's really revolutionary. It's just, it's so exciting, and people are demoing it today, and the response has been overwhelming.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I'm a huge XCOM fan.
Yeah.
Now
so are we. So are we.
Now, do you have, let me ask a few of the parts of the game. You mentioned that you've got the part where you have to go out and shoot down the UFOs. Do you also then have to send out teams to go invade the UFOs?
So teams go out on special missions, and those are some cards that you have to solve, okay? And then you have to decide which of your special forces resources to do that. But you also have a budget that you have to manage as well, right? So there's a lot of constraints, and there's a lot of difficult decisions you have to make, and you don't have endless resources.
Nice. Now, what about the technology aspect? Do you go and you capture some alien technology?
Yeah, you get, so that's what the science officer does, is he's taking different tech and he's trying to develop it and reverse engineer it so that you have better weapons to fight the aliens with.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it's like, when I say that we're fans of the game too, of XCOM in general, I mean, I think that's something to take note of, is we're very picky about what licenses we engage in, and we only engage in stuff that we're really passionate about.
Excellent. Well, I'm really looking forward to that one. Wait, one more thing. Do you have your own base?
You have your own base, and that's one of the ways you can lose the game. If the aliens overrun your headquarters, your secret headquarters, you lose. The other way that you can lose is you manage panic levels on the board for the different continents. And if enough continents rise above a certain panic threshold, you've lost control of the planet and the aliens win.
Right.
So that's things that you have to manage. It's like, oh, panic's rising in Europe. Oh, but it's also rising in South America. We can't let either one of them go. How do we split our forces to try to keep that down? And right, so it gives you some really difficult choices to make that create some really fun and interesting situations.
Great. So what do you think gameplay time is like?
Depends. It can vary depending on the complexity level, whether you play easy, normal, or hard, and whether you're playing 1 to 4 players. So it's hard for me to give you an exact range because those variables will affect the play time.
Wait, did you say you can play 1 player?
You can play 1 to 4 players.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh. All right, solo play.
One player is going to have a lot on his shoulders, but you can absolutely do it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Now, what about Star Wars Armada?
Oh. We're very, very excited. Very, very excited. I don't know what to say. It's awesome. Let me bring a ship over.
Okay, cool.
Can I do that?
Of course.
There you go.
Oh, look at that Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
That is sweet.
And you can have multiples of that on the table, crushing the rebel scum.
Nice.
So I guess there's a couple things to talk about this. Is it's not X-Wing with big ships.
Okay, good.
Right? It's not that at all. It's a completely different rule system. It's a more complex, grittier game. I mean, playtime. You have 2 full fleets of players that know how to play the game. 1.5 to 2 hour game, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty
You have
nice.
a lot to keep track of, right? There's a lot more decision making, right? And that's not to say that X-Wing's an easy game, because it's not an easy game. It's an easy game to learn, but it's a really hard game to master, right? But there's just some more pieces to the puzzle to this, right? You have to, these big capital ships, the bigger they are, the less maneuverable they are. So that you may have seen in the announcement how the maneuver tool can click along, and bigger ships turn slower,
Right.
You know, and so all of that, their kind of momentum and drift is taken into account, and movement feels completely different than X-Wing does. It really feels like a capital ship, right? It's not something that can turn on a dime. I mean, X-Wings and TIE fighters are all over the place, right? Not these big boys, right? They come across the battlefield, they have a real weight and presence to them, and that is accounted for in their movement.
Now, I remember reading where you can actually, you need to actually plot your moves in advance.
You do have to plot your movements, and you have a command stack that can have, you know, that will have up to 4 commands into it, right? And when you reveal that command, so you're having to plot different turns ahead. The good news is you reveal a command. If it's not something you can execute right now, you can take a token for that and get a lesser effect on it in a later turn. So you haven't completely, if it's not exactly what you want when you want it, you're not completely hosed. You can still get an effect out of it. It just won't be quite as impactful as what you planned it out to be when you did. Right? So it gives you feel like you're actually an admiral of a fleet and you're directing a fleet. And to do that, you have to make lots of decisions. And of course, these big ships have shields. They have, you know, they have guns in all different firing arcs. You can fire twice in a turn, but you can only fire once per firing arc. So from my front firing arc, I can make one attack from that, then I can make an attack from one of my other firing arcs. Now, if I really maneuver really well, and I've got one ship in 2 firing arcs, I can shoot at it twice then. Right?
Okay,
so maneuvering is really critical, positioning, thinking turns in advance. And then the fighters are also important. They move completely different because, again, fighters can move really easily. So, and then there's some very innovative ways that we keep track of the damage for them, whether they've activated or not. So it's an important part of managing your capital ships, but also keeping those squadrons of fighters. Instead of an X-Wing, when you're dealing with individual fighters, now you have some squadrons that will support these giant capital ships. But it is a completely different feeling. Really awesome, very exciting.
Now, how many players did you say it went up to?
What's that?
Is it just 2 players?
It's a 2-player game, but like X-Wing, you can have teams and you can have people build out bigger fleets if you want to.
Okay. Now, which ships come with it?
Excuse me.
Sure.
I've been talking a lot today.
Yeah.
It comes with 1 Victory class destroyer plus 5 squadrons of TIE fighters. It comes with a blockade runner, with which the Tantive 4 is a famous blockade runner. Right. It also comes with the Nebulon B frigate, and it comes with 5 squadrons of X-Wing fighters as well. And important to note that the capital ships come pre-painted, but the squads of the fighters do not. But they come molded in colors that complement the fleet, so most people won't even make a difference.
Won't even bother, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, when are both of those games set to be released?
So XCOM is slated for the 4th quarter of this year, and Armada is slated for early 2015. Right. I mean, we literally had to go through incredible effort just to have these display copies of these ships here at the show.
I'm sure.
Right, but to get these mass produced, and also that's something important for people to know, that the ships that are on display are not paint masters, these are production samples. So this is the high quality paint jobs is what you're going to get. Just like in X-Wing, people marvel about how great the paint jobs are. Yeah. Same type of thing for this. So
excellent. Well, I'm glad you're continuing that. That's good. Is there anything else that's going on with Fantasy Flight that you'd like to share? Or that you can share? You guys are traditionally pretty tight-lipped.
We are, and I'm the guy that's in charge of being tight-lipped, so...
That's fine.
We do have some more cool announcements to make at Christian's in-flight report tomorrow at noon, and afterwards those games will be revealed in the case. So there is more cool stuff to come. We have Wave 5 of X-Wing here, plus Rebel Aces for sale, so we're excited about that. That's the game I play the most personally, so I'm super excited to have those ships here, right? We do have some other really cool news, I just can't share it yet.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Steve, thank you very much for giving me a few minutes of your time.
Oh, thanks for coming by.
We need more time.